Welcome, dear friends, to a quiet and lingering journey through 150 gentle facts about Rick and Morty. That strange, profound, and endlessly imaginative series that began as a small, irreverent parody and slowly unfolded into a universe of boundless worlds, fragile hearts, curious jokes, hiding softer truths, and characters who drift between galaxies while searching, in their own way, for meaning. Tonight, we'll wander slowly through the origins of the show, the minds who shaped it, the dimensions that shimmer at its edges, and the tender bits of humanity tucked beneath its cosmic chaos. This space is here for you to rest, to breathe, and to let your thoughts grow quiet as we explore the gentle stories behind a series that has captured minds with wonder and a touch of melancholy. And now, as you settle deeper into stillness, let your breath soften. Feel your shoulders ease, your jaw loosen, the weight of the day beginning to slip away. Let the night cradle you. If you enjoy drifting through soft stories like this, you're welcome to subscribe and gently tell me where you're listening from tonight. When you're ready, we will begin with the first set of facts. Fact 1. The origins of Rick and Morty trace back to a small, rough, intentionally chaotic animated short that Justin Roiland created for fun, never meant to spark a universe of fans or inspire years of storytelling. It was a simple parody, loose at the edges, playful in its irreverence, yet carrying the faintest echo of something deeper waiting to unfold. In that humble beginning lived a quiet spark, one that would someday grow into a series exploring vast dimensions, fragile relationships, and the tender vulnerability hidden beneath humor. What began as a joke slowly became a galaxy of meaning. Fact 2. Before Rick and Morty was greenlit, its earliest form existed as a raw, experimental project made without the weight of expectations. Roiland recorded spontaneous, improvised dialogue, letting thoughts tumble freely, embracing mistakes instead of smoothing them away. This improvised style created a tone that felt alive, unpredictable, softly chaotic, and strangely intimate. Those early audio sessions captured the wandering rhythm that would become the show's signature spirit, thoughts drifting between absurdity and sincerity, like a late night conversation where the world grows quiet enough for honesty to surface. Fact 3. Adult Swim first noticed Roiland's unusual style through small, late night animated festivals and creative gatherings where unique voices could shine without needing polish. In that quiet space, the network sensed something rare, a mind willing to explore strange corners without fear of imperfection. Their interest unfolded gently, slowly, as if recognizing a spark in the dark. That early encouragement became fertile ground, allowing Rick and Morty to grow from a rough idea into a universe of stories, proving that sometimes the quietest beginnings lead to the widest horizons. Fact 4. When Dan Harmon joined the project, he brought a soft structure to Roiland's improvisational energy, not to restrain it, but to cradle it, giving shape to chaos the way a gentle hand guides a drifting lantern. Harmon's sense of story arcs, emotional anchors, and character journeys created a balance that let the show breathe with both spontaneity and depth. Their contrasting styles formed a harmony, one voice wild and unfiltered, the other reflective and thoughtful. Together, they created a world where cosmic absurdity and quiet emotional truth coexist. Fact 5. The earliest discussions about the show imagined a universe where every choice, every possibility, and every version of a character could exist all at once, an infinite tapestry of selves. This idea wasn't meant to be frightening, but freeing, like standing beneath a vast night sky and realizing how many stars there are, how many stories could unfold. The creators wanted the show to hold both wonder and melancholy, a gentle acknowledgement that in an endless cosmos, small moments of connection still shine the brightest. Fact 6. Before the first season was fully written, the team spent long, wandering conversations exploring what the emotional core of the series should feel like. They spoke quietly, thoughtfully, about balancing humor with heart, ensuring that beneath the surreal adventures there would always be a sense of longing, growth, or fragile humanity. Those early talks shaped the tone that fans later cherished, the soft ache beneath the laughter, the sense that even in a chaotic multiverse, small bonds and quiet moments still matter, drifting like lanterns through vastness. Fact 7. The name Rick and Morty was chosen not for grandeur, but for simplicity. Soft, familiar sounds that echoed the rhythms of classic animated duos. It carries an easy, gentle cadence, almost like a whispered pair of names passed from one storyteller to another. The simplicity allowed the characters' emotional depth to grow naturally, without fanfare. Over time, the names became symbols of exploration, one representing unrestrained intellect, the other representing innocence and vulnerability. Together, they form a quiet balance that anchors the show's wandering spirit. Fact 8. In the show's earliest concept art, Rick was drawn with exaggerated, almost trembling lines, reflecting a mind in constant motion, drifting between brilliance and exhaustion. Those uneven strokes captured a quiet truth. That genius often carries a certain fragility, a restless energy that never fully settles. Meanwhile, Morty's early sketches showed softer curves, wide eyes, and an openness that invited empathy. Even before the series took shape, the contrast between them felt soothing and intentional, like two emotional notes resonating together. Fact 9. The creators imagined the show not as a traditional sitcom, but as a gentle, drifting meditation on possibility, wrapped in humor, wrapped in surreal adventures, but always returning to moments of stillness. They believed that stories, even chaotic ones, could hold space for quiet reflection. This philosophy shaped the show's foundations, guiding it toward episodes that explore fear, longing, identity, and love, all beneath a shimmering layer of cosmic absurdity. In this way, the earliest ideas of Rick and Morty were more contemplative than fans might realize. Fact 10. Before animation began, the writers spent time imagining what it would feel like to stand inside Rick and Morty's universe, to breathe its air, to watch its stars, to listen to its quiet moments between adventures. They envisioned sunsets on distant planets, soft glows from alien skylines, and the gentle hum of interdimensional travel. These atmospheric details created a dreamlike foundation, giving the show a sense of place that felt strangely familiar yet wonderfully unknown. That gentle world building still echoes beneath every episode, like a lullaby hidden beneath the dialogue. Fact 11. Dan Harmon's creative process has always carried a quiet, reflective rhythm, shaped by long nights of writing, pacing, and gently unraveling the emotional threads that guide a story. When he joined Rick and Morty, he approached the universe with a deep sense of care, asking not just what would happen next, but what each moment meant beneath the surface. He saw storytelling as a soft exploration of human nature, our fears, our hopes, our longing for connection. His structured thinking gave the show a gentle heartbeat, grounding cosmic chaos in emotional truth. Fact 12. Justin Roiland often created voices by entering a loose, meditative flow, allowing spontaneous words to tumble out before he could judge or filter them. This improvisational softness became one of the show's most recognizable textures, dialogue that feels alive, wandering, slightly messy, yet deeply human. He approached creativity like drifting through a half dream, trusting instincts more than rules. That free-form energy shaped Rick and Morty's earliest soundscapes, echoing the feeling of late-night conversations where ideas blur, humor softens, and quiet honesty rises beneath the noise. Or 13, the creators often described their collaboration as a gentle balancing act. Royland's wild, instinctive spark weaving through Harmon's thoughtful structure. Their meetings were not clashes, but soft negotiations, each voice tempering the other. Royland brought surprise and spontaneity. Harmon brought reflection and meaning. Together, they formed a partnership that allowed the show to feel expansive, yet grounded, playful, yet thoughtful. Their creative dance resembled a drifting conversation, shifting naturally from laughter to contemplation, shaping a universe both surreal and tender. Fact 14. Both creators valued the quiet moments of brainstorming, those soft, unguarded exchanges where ideas floated without pressure. They often let concepts sit for days, returning to them gently, as if turning over stones in a still river. In these quiet intervals, stories began to form, not through force, but through patient exploration. This slow, meditative process helped the show maintain its unique tone, embracing both imagination and introspection. Behind the scenes, creativity grew like breath, steady, natural, and unhurried. Fact 15. The earliest writers' room sessions were less like formal meetings and more like shared moments of drifting discussion. Writers spoke softly about themes, emotions, and the subtle threads connecting characters across dimensions. They wanted the show to explore complex ideas, identity, possibility, loneliness, without losing its gentle humor. These conversations shaped the emotional core of Rick and Morty, reminding the team that beneath every universe and every impossibility lies a quiet human heartbeat. Their goal was always to preserve that softness. Fact 16. Much of the series' tone emerged from Harmon's story circle method, a gentle framework he used not to restrict creativity, but to nurture it. The structure acted like a lantern guiding the writers through dark or uncertain story paths, ensuring that each episode had a soft emotional arc beneath the adventure. Characters would leave comfort, face uncertainty, learn something subtle, and return changed, reflecting the quiet cycles we all move through in life. This simple rhythm helped the show feel grounded amid infinite worlds. Fact 17. The creators often allowed silence to be part of the process. Long pauses in meetings weren't discomfort, they were space for thoughts to settle. In those still moments, ideas unfurled like slow growing vines. Someone would breathe, lean back, and suddenly see a new angle, a hidden emotional thread, or a gentler way to express a character's longing. The show's contemplative nature was born from these pauses, moments where creativity grew not from noise, but from quiet reflection. Fact 18. One of the earliest creative goals was to keep the show honest, emotionally honest, even when wrapped in absurdity. The team believed that humor and melancholy could complement each other, drifting together like twilight and dawn. They wanted viewers to feel a soft ache beneath the laughter, a sense that every character carries unseen memories and hopes. This commitment guided script revisions, voice direction, and story choices, ensuring that Rick and Morty retained a gentle human truth at its core. Fact 19. Collaboration extended beyond the writer's room. Artists, not animators, sound designers, and editors all added quiet touches to the show's atmosphere. A soft background hum, a lonely hallway, a drifting musical note. Small details layered emotional depth into every scene. These subtle elements were discussed with care, each decision made with the intention of supporting the show's contemplative tone. In this way, creativity flowed through the entire team like a shared breath, uniting different talents into one gentle vision. Fact 20. As the show evolved, the creators continued returning to the same gentle question: what does this moment mean beneath the surface? They believed that even the wildest scenes deserved emotional grounding. When a character sighed, hesitated, or looked away, those small gestures were treated with as much importance as any cosmic event. The creative process became a meditation on quiet humanity, reminding the team that stories resonate most deeply when they reflect the delicate, unspoken parts of ourselves. Fact 21. Rick's character, with his wild hair and brilliant troubled mind, was inspired by a combination of chaotic genius and deep-seated vulnerability. He wasn't meant to be simply a mad scientist, but rather a reflection of an internal struggle between brilliance and self-doubt. His erratic behavior, both humorous and sad, came from a desire to explore the fine line between the freedom of intelligence and the loneliness that often accompanies it. Rick's designs were deliberately exaggerated, his features sharp and unrelenting, much like his character, always searching, never quite settled. Fact 22. Morty's design was built to be the emotional counterpoint to Rick's boundless complexity. With wide eyes, soft features, and a perpetual look of confusion, Morty exudes innocence and anxiety in equal measure. His character was inspired by the idea of a young person dragged into a chaotic world without the means to fully comprehend it, yet constantly changing as he slowly finds his place. Morty is the heart of the show, carrying a quiet burden, his character arc reflecting the struggle between youthful innocence and the harsh realities he faces alongside his grandfather. Fact 23. Early sketches of the characters emphasized simplicity, rounded lines for Morty, jagged shapes for Rick, reflecting their contrasting personalities. Rick's jagged edges were a visual representation of his complex and fractured psyche, while Morty's soft curves symbolized vulnerability and a more innocent worldview. As the series progressed, the design evolved to reflect the emotional nuances in their relationship. Rick's rough edges softened slightly, while Morty's features became sharper in moments of growth. The subtle changes mirrored their evolving journeys, Rick beginning to face his vulnerability, Morty becoming more self-assured despite the chaos around him. Shift 24. The development of Summer was an important step in diversifying the emotional core of the show. Initially a background character, Summer's role expanded as the creators realized that her sharp wit and emotional depth could provide a grounding balance to the eccentricities of Rick and Morty. Summer's design took cues from her independence. Her long hair and more defined features reflected a growing sense of self-awareness, while her character arc was built to show how someone could find strength in the midst of a family defined by chaos, always seeking her own voice in the tumult. Fact 25: Beth's character was crafted with the intention of exploring themes of self worth and identity. As Rick's daughter, Beth carries the weight of a complicated past, one that her father's abandonment and emotional neglect cast over her. Her design reflects this duality, with her strong, sharp features contrasting against her vulnerable, insecure moments. The creators envisioned her as someone trying to prove herself while grappling with the ghost of her father's influence, and her character was carefully written to explore the difficult path between self realization and the expectations placed upon her. Fact 26: In the beginning, the show's art style was intentionally simple, almost childlike in its designs, allowing the absurdity of the stories to feel more accessible. However, as the narrative became more complex and the emotional depth of the characters deepened, the style evolved. The color palettes shifted to evoke a broader range of moods, from the bright, cartoonish hues of early episodes to the darker, more atmospheric tones that appear as the series delves into deeper themes. This evolution in design paralleled the emotional journeys of the characters, allowing their growth to be reflected in their visual world. Fact 27: The idea of an infinite number of universes within the show was inspired by a quiet curiosity about alternate possibilities. What would happen if you could live your life over and over again, making different choices each time? This idea resonated deeply with the character's personal struggles, especially Rick, whose exploration of multiple realities becomes a reflection of his attempt to escape his own inner turmoil. The vast, ever changing nature of the multiverse allowed the show to explore endless permutations of characters, locations, and emotional arcs, creating a canvas that could shift endlessly while still reflecting deep human themes. Fact 28: A key element of Rick and Morty's charm is the balance between high stakes adventures and small, intimate moments between characters. The show is often at its most impactful when it pulls back from cosmic chaos and focuses on these quiet moments, whether it's Rick's rare moments of vulnerability or Morty's confusion and longing. These moments were carefully woven into the fabric of the series, providing a soft anchor amid the wild, unpredictable nature of the story. It's in these pauses, where characters breathe and interact without the pressure of a grand adventure, that their true growth is often revealed. Fact 29: The designs for many of the secondary characters were influenced by a desire to subvert typical animated tropes. Rather than relying on traditional, predictable designs, the creators wanted characters to feel more like real people, flawed, complex, and often caught between extremes. From the awkwardness of Jerry to the brashness of Mr. Poopy Butthole, each character was given a design that allowed their personalities to come through without oversimplifying them. This commitment to character depth helped the show feel more grounded, even within its most absurd narratives. Fact 30: While the art style and character designs were evolving, the creators were always careful not to let the visual elements overwhelm the core of the show, the emotional journey of the characters. Every design choice was made with the intention of supporting the story, whether it was through subtle cues in a character's posture, their facial expressions, or the color choices in their environments. The show's quiet attention to detail in character design reflects a larger philosophy. Stories are best told when all elements, visual and narrative, harmonize to create an atmosphere that invites the viewer into a world that feels both familiar and foreign. Fact 31. At its heart, Rick and Morty is a meditation on the nature of intelligence and its consequences. Rick's genius, while a source of admiration, is often portrayed as a double edged sword, an intellect that isolates him from emotional connection, leaving him adrift in his own mind. The show gently explores the cost of being too clever, showing that, while intelligence can unlock endless possibilities, it can also trap a person in loneliness. This theme runs like a quiet undercurrent beneath the series, reminding us that sometimes the most important things can't be understood through logic alone. Fact 32. The concept of free will versus determinism is another key theme woven throughout the show. In a multiverse where infinite versions of everything exist, the characters constantly confront the idea that their choices might not matter in the grand scheme of things. Rick, in particular, is often seen grappling with the idea that nothing is truly permanent, leading him to a place of nihilism. Yet this nihilism, explored so gently, allows for small, meaningful moments where characters experience growth, suggesting that even in a universe of infinite possibilities, our choices still carry weight, if only in our own hearts. Fact 33. Morty's character arc embodies the emotional struggles of youth, innocence, and growing pains. He's often placed in situations that challenge his sense of self, forcing him to navigate a universe that feels both too vast and too immediate. His journey is one of self discovery and emotional exploration, where every adventure, no matter how strange, adds to his understanding of who he is. Through Morty, the show explores the quiet, tender moments of adolescence, where the world feels large and confusing, and yet every experience shapes us, teaching us how to be more than what we were yesterday. Fact 34. One of the most striking themes in Rick and Morty is the exploration of existentialism, the search for meaning in a universe that may not offer any. The show often confronts the idea that life may be absurd, and yet it continues. Rick's struggles with the meaning of life are deeply philosophical, yet often presented in a humorous, almost detached way. This combination of humor and melancholy creates a unique atmosphere where existential questions are asked with a sense of softness, not anger or despair, allowing the viewer to reflect on their own sense of meaning in a vast, unpredictable world. Fact 35. The idea of parallel realities, universes where everything that can happen does happen, forms the backbone of much of Rick and Morty's narrative. In this multiverse, the characters often confront their own doppelgangers, different versions of themselves who have made different choices. This constant shifting between worlds invites the viewer to question the role of fate, choice, and identity. It suggests that our lives are defined not just by our choices, but by the infinite paths that exist alongside them, each equally real, equally full of possibility. Fact 36. Despite the show's often absurd, over the top adventures, one of its most profound themes is the exploration of family and relationships. At its core, Rick and Morty is about the imperfect, fragile connections that tie people together. Rick's relationship with his family, especially with Morty, is complicated, marked by moments of tenderness and deep emotional distance. The show gently reveals that even in a chaotic universe, the people we love are the ones who define us, and sometimes it's these relationships that give life meaning in the face of an indifferent cosmos. Fact 37. Rick's deep cynicism is often framed as a protective mechanism, a way of shielding himself from the overwhelming chaos of the multiverse. But the show slowly reveals that his cynicism is also a result of trauma, emotional scars that he carries from his past. In his constant search for meaning, Rick often hides behind humor, making it difficult for him to confront his own vulnerabilities. This quiet exploration of emotional pain beneath the surface of a seemingly carefree character adds depth to his journey, showing that even the most attached individuals have hidden wounds they cannot escape. Fact 38. The show often portrays the concept of mortality in a soft, reflective way, both in terms of literal death and the metaphorical death of ideas, relationships, or worlds. While the characters frequently find themselves in life or death situations, the focus is not on violence, but on the fragility of existence itself. Every close call, every potential loss, reflects the quiet understanding that nothing is permanent. It's a theme that invites contemplation, showing that life's fleeting nature is what gives it meaning, urging us to appreciate what we have before it slips quietly away. Fact 39. Rick and Morty also explores the idea of legacy, how the choices we make, even in the face of an endless universe, can ripple through time. Rick's actions, often reckless and self destructive, leave behind consequences, not only for himself but for his family. Yet, despite his attempts to avoid attachment, he cannot escape the reality that his legacy, his impact on those around him, is unavoidable. The show examines how we leave pieces of ourselves behind, whether we mean to or not, and the gentle reminder that even in chaos, we shape the future for those who come after us. Fact 40. Philosophical discussions are often woven into the fabric of the show, but they're rarely presented as heavy handed or preachy. Instead, the characters' conversations about existence, the nature of the universe, and the meaning of life are presented with a quiet subtlety, as if the characters are exploring these ideas almost by accident. This approach invites the audience to consider these deep themes without feeling overwhelmed. It's as if, in the middle of all the absurdity, the show asks us to pause, to breathe, and to reflect on the quiet questions that define our own lives. Fact 41. Rick's character is one of brilliant contradiction, an unpredictable genius, yet emotionally distant, someone who drifts through life in search of meaning while avoiding connection. His intelligence, immense and often isolating, is both his strength and his curse. Beneath his chaotic exterior lies a quiet sadness, a longing for purpose that he refuses to acknowledge. Over time, Rick's character arc gently explores how his brilliance both saves and alienates him, allowing the audience to see the vulnerability hidden beneath his irreverence. Through him, the show asks, can intellect and emotional fulfillment ever truly coexist? Fact 42. Rick's deep cynicism often shields him from confronting the pain of his past. He uses humor, detachment, and a cold disregard for others as a barrier to emotional intimacy. Yet, even in his most cynical moments, small cracks appear, moments where he allows himself to feel, just for an instant. These moments, soft and fleeting, reveal a different side of Rick, one that is weary and fragile. As the show progresses, these cracks grow larger, allowing us to see a character who, despite his flaws, is searching for something deeper than the emptiness he once embraced. Fact 43. One of Rick's most defining traits is his fear of vulnerability. He often pushes people away, especially his family, because he believes that opening up will lead to pain. His deep rooted fear of being hurt keeps him at arm's length from everyone, even as he yearns for connection. This paradox within Rick's personality is explored gently throughout the series. His actions often contradict his inner desires, showing that while he tries to shield himself from emotional pain, it is precisely through allowing himself to care that he could begin to heal. Fact 44. Rick's complex relationship with Morty is at the core of his character development. While he often drags Morty into dangerous situations, there are quiet moments where his concern for Morty's well being is palpable. Rick's actions, though reckless and often self centered, are driven by an unspoken desire to protect Morty, even if he won't admit it. Their relationship evolves throughout the series, with Rick slowly realizing that his emotional walls can no longer protect him from the fact that he needs his family, particularly Morty, more than he's willing to acknowledge. Fact 45. Rick's intelligence often comes with a sense of superiority, which he wears like armor. He sees himself as the smartest being in the multiverse, constantly testing his limits and the boundaries of reality. However, beneath this pride lies a quiet insecurity. The show subtly explores how Rick's fear of being insignificant drives much of his reckless behavior. His constant push for knowledge and control is rooted in a deeper, more existential fear that without these things, he might fade into nothingness, just another speck in an infinite universe. His brilliance, then, is as much a defense as it is a gift. Fact 46. Rick's struggle with his own mortality is a recurring theme in the series. His disregard for life, both his own and others, is tied to an overwhelming sense of existential dread. At times, it seems as though he believes life has no inherent meaning, a belief that drives his reckless behavior. Yet, in quieter moments, the weight of his mortality begins to seep through the cracks in his cynicism. Rick's growing awareness of his own fragility brings a soft shift in his character, inviting the viewer to see him not as an unflappable genius, but as a man grappling with his own humanity. Fact 47. Throughout the series, Rick often appears as a lone wanderer, but his relationship with his family, especially his daughter Beth, is an important part of his character arc. His strained relationship with Beth stems from a combination of abandonment and his inability to express love in any traditional sense. The series quietly reveals that Rick's love for Beth is deep but complicated. He struggles to reconcile his emotions with his fear of attachment, creating a subtle but poignant undercurrent of conflict. His inability to fully connect with her is one of his most vulnerable and tragic qualities. Fact 48. Rick's self-destructive tendencies are another key element of his personality. He often sabotages his own happiness and relationships, believing that self-doubt and pessimism are shields against the world's disappointments. However, his actions create a cycle of destruction that leaves him isolated and emotionally numb. The show delicately explores how Rick's self-sabotage stems from a fear of being hurt, yet in pushing people away, he only deepens his own loneliness. His journey throughout the series is one of learning to break free from this cycle, though it remains a quiet struggle for him. Fact 49. As Rick's character evolves, the show reveals that his recklessness and emotional distance stem from deep emotional trauma. Rick is a man who has seen and experienced things that have shattered his understanding of the world. This trauma manifests in both his actions and his interactions with others, often leaving him unable to trust anyone, even those closest to him. Rick and Morty softly explores how trauma shapes a person and how, even in a chaotic multiverse, healing requires vulnerability, something Rick has spent a lifetime avoiding. His character arc is a gentle exploration of self acceptance and healing. Fact 50. Rick's moments of clarity are rare but profoundly revealing. These quiet instances, where he allows himself to reflect on his actions and the impact they have on others, show a different side of him. In these moments, the audience sees a man who is not simply a genius, but a complex, flawed individual trying to navigate the chaos of his own mind and the multiverse. These reflective moments are often brief, but they offer a glimpse of hope, a hope that, beneath the layers of cynicism and detachment, Rick is capable of change and growth. Fact 51. Morty's character arc is a tender exploration of youth, innocence, and the inevitable collision with the adult world. Early in the series, Morty is portrayed as a typical teenager, confused by his surroundings and the strange adventures thrust upon him. However, as the series progresses, Morty begins to grow, slowly gaining agency and strength. His journey symbolizes the process of growing up, navigating complex emotions, grappling with personal fears, and learning how to confront the challenges of a chaotic world. Morty's evolution is quiet, filled with both sorrow and strength, as he learns that innocence and wisdom can coexist. Fact 52. Morty's relationship with Rick is a central pillar of his development. Though Rick often drags Morty into dangerous and sometimes morally questionable situations, it's through these experiences that Morty learns who he is. At first, Morty's willingness to follow Rick blindly is a sign of his naivety, but over time, Morty begins to assert his own beliefs. He starts questioning Rick's actions, recognizing that there is more to life than following his grandfather's lead. This shift from dependence to independence marks one of Morty's quiet, yet profound growth moments, a subtle but powerful reflection of his coming of age. Fact 53. Morty is often thrust into situations where he must make impossible decisions, choices that challenge his sense of morality, loyalty, and fear. In these moments, Morty's growth becomes apparent. He is forced to confront his own values, learning that not everything is black and white. These choices, though difficult, are moments of self-discovery for Morty. They show how even in a world of infinite dimensions and endless chaos, the most significant battles are often those fought within ourselves. Morty's journey is a quiet reminder that growth comes from discomfort, from moments of uncertainty, and from the willingness to face fears. Fact 54. Despite his growing strength, Morty is often depicted as a tragic figure, struggling to reconcile the innocence of his youth with the harsh realities of the worlds he explores. In this way, Morty embodies the tension between childhood and adulthood, torn between a longing for the carefree days of youth and the inevitable responsibility that comes with growing up. The show reflects this quiet struggle, allowing Morty to experience both the thrill and sorrow of becoming more aware of the world around him. His emotional journey is one of loss, discovery, and ultimately acceptance. Fact 55. Morty's vulnerability is one of his most defining qualities, and it's often in his quiet, tender moments that the depth of his character shines through. While Rick is often the loudest voice in the room, Morty's introspective nature reveals a more subtle emotional depth. He often carries the weight of their adventures in silence, processing the emotional toll of what they've experienced. These moments of reflection highlight Morty's empathy, his ability to feel deeply, and his constant struggle to reconcile his moral compass with the often absurd situations he's placed in. Fact 56. As Morty matures, he begins to show flashes of emotional intelligence, a quieter but potent form of wisdom that contrasts sharply with Rick's intellectual brilliance. Morty's emotional sensitivity allows him to connect with others on a deeper level, understanding feelings and motivations in ways that Rick, for all his intelligence, often misses. Morty's growth is a testament to the power of emotional intelligence, the ability to navigate the complexities of human connection with empathy, compassion, and a soft understanding. It's a reminder that while intelligence can open doors, it is empathy that often leads to true understanding. Fact 57. Throughout the series, Morty often finds himself in situations where he must reconcile his own moral values with the choices made by those around him. His journey is not only one of external conflict, but also of internal struggle. Morty's conflict often lies in his desire to protect others, especially his family, while grappling with the harsh realities of the universe. His growth is shaped by the quiet tension between his desire to do good and the overwhelming chaos of the worlds they visit. Morty's story is one of learning that morality is often complex and personal. Fact 58. Despite the chaos and absurdity of the world around him, Morty holds on to a quiet hope, a belief that no matter how strange the universe gets, there's still room for kindness and love. This belief is often tested, yet Morty continues to hold it close, refusing to let the cynicism around him consume his spirit. Morty's idealism, though often overshadowed by the craziness of his adventures, becomes a quiet beacon of light in an otherwise dark universe. His unwavering belief in the goodness of others, even when it seems impossible, is a subtle but powerful aspect of his character. Fact 59. Morty's experiences often reflect the fragility of youth, a tender exploration of how quickly innocence can be lost. Through his eyes, the audience sees the world as a place of both wonder and danger, a place where the stakes are high and the risks are real. Yet Morty never fully loses his sense of awe, even as he becomes more aware of the darkness around him. This blend of vulnerability and resilience speaks to the complexity of growing up, the way we can hold on to innocence even as we face the challenges of an often uncertain world. Fact 60. At the core of Morty's development is his growing ability to stand up for himself. As the series progresses, Morty begins to assert his own opinions and desires, stepping out of Rick's shadow. This shift is not immediate, but rather a slow and steady evolution, marked by moments of courage and self-assertion. Morty's growth represents a quiet rebellion against the chaos around him, his refusal to be simply a passive participant in his own life. Through his journey, the show reflects the importance of self-empowerment and the quiet strength it takes to forge one's own path. Fact 61. The Smith family is the emotional heart of Rick and Morty, a complex web of relationships, each with its own quiet struggles and hidden depths. At first glance, the family appears disjointed, with each member leading a life that seems disconnected from the others. However, as the series progresses, we see that their bonds are stronger than they first appear. Beneath the absurdity of their interdimensional escapades lies a genuine love and care for one another. The show's gentle exploration of these family dynamics reveals that, even in chaos, family remains a central anchor in their lives. Fact 62: Beth Smith, Rick's daughter, is a character driven by a desire for self validation and acceptance. Throughout the series, Beth grapples with feelings of inadequacy, often measuring her worth against her father's genius. She longs for her father's approval, but she also resents him for the emotional distance he created in their relationship. The show quietly explores the tension between love and resentment, revealing that Beth's journey is about finding her own identity, separate from her father's legacy. Her development is a slow, often painful process of self acceptance as she learns to reconcile her own desires with the love she feels for her family. Fact 63: Jerry Smith, Morty's father, is often the butt of jokes, portrayed as clueless, passive, and ineffective. Yet beneath this surface, Jerry embodies a deep, quiet yearning for respect and validation. His character arc reflects the struggle many people face when they feel overshadowed by the accomplishments or brilliance of others. Jerry's vulnerability often leads him to question his worth, especially within the context of his family. While he may not possess the same intelligence as Rick, his journey involves finding strength in his own way, learning that his value is not defined by others' expectations. Fact 64: Summer Smith, the often overlooked older sister, is a character who grows steadily throughout the series. Initially seen as a typical teenage girl, Summer begins to develop her own sense of independence and self worth. She challenges Rick's authority, showing that she too can navigate the strange, chaotic world of interdimensional travel. Summer's quiet rebellion against the limitations placed on her reveals a deep inner strength. Her character development is a gentle reminder that even in a family dominated by a genius and a troubled adolescent, there's room for growth, independence, and finding one's own voice. Fact 65: Beth and Jerry's relationship, while often dysfunctional, is another key layer of the show's exploration of family dynamics. Their marriage is marked by moments of tension, miscommunication, and doubt, yet there is also an undeniable bond between them. The show portrays their relationship as one full of contradictions. They love each other, but they hurt each other. This complexity adds emotional depth to the series, highlighting that love is not always easy or neat. The quiet moments of tenderness between Beth and Jerry remind us that even in chaotic, unpredictable relationships, there is still the potential for growth and understanding. Fact 66: Despite his emotional distance, Rick's role as a father and grandfather is integral to the Smith family's dynamic. His behavior, often erratic, cruel, or indifferent, masks a deep, unresolved love for his family. Rick's actions, while harmful at times, are driven by a desire to protect those he loves in his own flawed, complicated way. The show slowly reveals that Rick's detachment is rooted in fear, the fear of losing the people he cares about, of being too close to them, of facing his own vulnerabilities. Through Rick's character, the show explores how even the most emotionally distant people are shaped by love. Fact 67: The relationship between Rick and Morty is often the most intense and emotionally complex. Rick's constant manipulation of Morty, dragging him into dangerous situations, creates a tumultuous dynamic between them. However, the show also explores the subtle, tender moments where Rick's concern for Morty becomes apparent. Despite his rough exterior, Rick's protective instincts occasionally shine through. Morty, in turn, becomes more than just Rick's sidekick. He begins to challenge Rick's choices, questioning his actions and beliefs. Their evolving relationship reveals a delicate balance between independence and attachment, power and vulnerability, as both characters grow throughout the series. Fact 68: Beth's internal struggle with her own identity is tied to her relationship with her father, Rick. As the series progresses, we see that Beth longs to prove herself to be something more than just Rick's daughter. She wants to live up to her father's legacy while also carving out her own path. Her relationship with Rick is marked by a constant push and pull as she seeks his approval but also resents him for his emotional neglect. Beth's quiet journey is one of self discovery as she learns to reconcile her own desires with the complicated love she has for her family. Fact 69: Jerry's character arc is often portrayed with humor, yet it also reveals the quiet insecurities many people face in relationships. He constantly compares himself to Rick, feeling inferior in intellect, ability, and emotional strength. This insecurity is a central theme in Jerry's journey. His struggle to find his place within the family and to assert his own worth. His quieter moments, where he reflects on his role in his family, reveal a deep yearning for validation and self respect. Jerry's growth is slow but steady as he learns to accept himself and his place in a world that often feels overwhelming. Fact 70: Summer's growth throughout the series is often tied to her relationship with her family. Initially, she feels overshadowed by Morty's adventures and Rick's intellect, but as she becomes more involved in the family's chaos, she begins to find her own strength. Summer's evolution is marked by moments of quiet courage, where she asserts her voice and takes control of her own destiny. Her development reflects the importance of self discovery in the midst of familial chaos, learning that even in a family defined by eccentricity and unpredictability, one can find their own path and place. Fact 71: One of the show's most iconic episodes, Total Rickle, takes place in a world where parasites implant false memories, creating absurd, over the top characters that populate the Smith family's lives. The episode is a brilliant mix of chaos and comedy, but it also contains quiet layers about memory and the truth. It asks the subtle question: how do we know what's real? The episode explores the delicate line between imagination and reality, showing that even our most cherished memories can be fragile and subject to distortion, creating a poignant exploration of identity and trust. Fact 72: In the episode The Ricklantis Mix-Up, the show shifts its focus from the main characters to a different dimension, exploring the lives of multiple Ricks and Mortys. This episode is a deep dive into the theme of identity, how even within a multiverse of infinite possibilities, individuals still struggle with their place in the world. The episode reveals the quiet pain of living in the shadow of one's potential, showing that no matter the universe, every Rick faces a version of the same existential crisis. It's a powerful reflection on the search for meaning. Fact 73: Rick Potion number 9 is one of the first episodes to highlight the emotional complexity of the show. Morty's desperate desire to impress a girl leads to just a disastrous outcome where Rick's reckless science causes an entire universe to fall apart. The episode is both hilarious and tragic, showing how small actions can have sweeping consequences. The quiet emotional core of the episode lies in Morty's feelings of guilt and responsibility, reflecting the theme of unintended consequences. It serves as an early reminder that in the chaos of the multiverse, actions always have unseen repercussions. Fact 74. In The Wedding Squanchers, the family attends a wedding that turns into a disaster as Rick's past catches up with him. The episode blends action with emotional depth, especially when it explores Rick's emotional journey. His inability to commit to relationships, even with those he loves, is explored in a subtle and moving way. This episode highlights Rick's fear of attachment and how his past mistakes continue to haunt him. It's a meditation on the damage caused by emotional detachment and the consequences of pushing people away in the name of self preservation. Fact 75. The episode Pickle Rick is both a comedic spectacle and a profound exploration of Rick's character. Rick turns himself into a pickle to avoid family therapy, and the resulting absurdity highlights his deep fear of confronting his emotions. The episode slowly reveals that Rick's transformation is symbolic of his deeper avoidance of responsibility, particularly in his relationships. By the end, we see that Rick's true battle is not against his enemies, but against his own emotional vulnerabilities. The episode quietly shows that despite his bravado, Rick is deeply scared of facing the reality of his family's needs. Fact 76. In Rixty Minutes, the family watches alternative universes through interdimensional cable, seeing bizarre and sometimes horrifying versions of their lives. This episode is a playful exploration of what could be, but it also reveals that deeper existential questions about choice and fate. The quiet underlying theme of the episode is the reflection on the vastness of possibility, each decision creating an infinite number of realities, and yet the characters remain trapped in their own. The absurdities of alternate lives serve as a mirror, showing how even in infinite possibilities, the characters are still searching for meaning and connection. Fact 77. The Vat of Acid episode shows the consequences of Rick's manipulation and the lengths he goes to in order to avoid emotional discomfort. In this episode, Rick convinces Morty to create a fake death scenario to escape difficult situations. The absurdity of the plot masks a deeper truth. Rick is terrified of facing emotional consequences, particularly the idea of Morty's suffering. This episode is a quiet commentary on Rick's emotional cowardice, revealing how his scientific brilliance is used as a tool to avoid the messy, painful realities of life and the connections he's reluctant to nurture. Fact 78. Close Rick Counters of the Rick kind introduces the concept of multiple Ricks from different dimensions, further exploring the theme of identity. The episode is a whimsical exploration of how many versions of oneself can exist in an infinite multiverse. The episode's subtle emotional core lies in the realization that despite the endless iterations, Rick's true identity is shaped by his actions, not his intellect. The show reflects on the quiet loneliness of being one of many versions, each searching for purpose, but all struggling with the same inherent flaws and fears. Fact 79. Morty Night Run is an episode that sees Morty embarking on his own adventure without Rick. While this episode is filled with humor and absurdity, it also subtly explores Morty's growing independence. Morty begins to realize that he can make decisions without Rick's interference, leading to moments of empowerment, but also regret. The quiet emotional undercurrent of the episode is Morty's struggle with his own sense of morality and responsibility. As he faces the consequences of his decisions, the episode gently explores the balance between self empowerment and the weight of carrying one's own choices. Fact 80. In Get Swifty, the Earth faces a cosmic crisis as two giant heads appear in the sky. While the episode is comedic, it also touches on themes of existential uncertainty and humanity's place in the universe. The chaos that ensues serves as a metaphor for the unpredictable, often uncontrollable nature of existence. In the midst of the absurdity, the episode quietly reflects on how humans react when faced with the unknown through fear, confusion, and eventually absurdity. The show's humor hides a deeper contemplation of life's fragility and the randomness of our place in the vast, unknown cosmos. Chick 81, one of the most beloved side characters, Mr. Poopy Butthole, first appeared in the episode Total Rickle. Initially introduced as a quirky, light-hearted character, his personality evolves as the show progresses. His name, bizarre as it sounds, is a reflection of the show's irreverence, but his character arc also introduces deeper emotional themes. In his solo episode, Poopy Butthole, the character faces personal trauma, revealing a side of him that is far more vulnerable and complex than originally imagined. His arc quietly explores the fragility of the human experience, even within a comedic, often absurd universe. Fact 82. Bird Person, Rick's old friend, represents the quieter, more reflective side of Rick's past. His character is rooted in the idea of loyalty and sacrifice, contrasting sharply with Rick's often selfish, chaotic nature. Despite his limited screen time, Bird Person's relationship with Rick provides insight into the emotional depth Rick tries to suppress. Bird Person's eventual death in the Ricklantis mix-up serves as a subtle but powerful moment of reckoning for Rick, forcing him to confront the loss of a close friend and the emotional baggage he carries. Bird Person's journey is a quiet exploration of friendships and loss. Fact 83. Squanchy, Rick's anarchistic and carefree friend, serves as another reflection of Rick's more chaotic side. Introduced in Rixie Business, Squanchy's character is built on wild energy and unpredictable behavior, but his emotional depth is gradually revealed. His transformation into a more serious and reflective character comes in The Wedding Squanchers, where he faces the complexities of family loyalty and sacrifice. Squanchy's shift from carefree to grounded mirrors the show's broader theme of balancing freedom and responsibility. His arc reflects how even the most eccentric characters carry hidden emotional burdens, teaching viewers about personal growth and acceptance. Fact 84. Summer's friend, Jessica, is a minor but intriguing character who brings a subtle contrast to Summer's evolving personality. While Jessica initially appears as a typical teenage girl, she symbolizes the complexity of relationships and attraction. Her connection to Morty, especially in The Wedding Squanchers, highlights the quiet struggles of adolescence, the confusion of crushes, self-worth, and the desire for acceptance. Jessica's brief appearances remind viewers that even secondary characters are shaped by their own journeys, offering a gentle commentary on the fleeting but meaningful relationships that define the teenage experience. Fact 85. The character of Evil Morty stands as a dark mirror to Morty himself, embodying the quiet, unsettling potential for corruption within innocence. Introduced in Close Rick counters of the Rick kind, Evil Morty is a version of Morty who has grown disillusioned with the chaotic, morally ambiguous nature of the multiverse. His goal to dismantle the centralized power structure of the Council of Ricks presents a deeper exploration of power, corruption, and the desire for autonomy. Evil Morty's character is a haunting reminder that even the most innocent figures can be shaped by their environment into something darker. Fact 86. The character of Mr. Meeseeks was introduced as a quirky and comedic plot device, but over time, his deeper implications emerged. In Meeseeks and Destroy, the Meeseeks are summoned to accomplish simple tasks, only to become increasingly frustrated when they fail. Their existential struggle, which leads to their eventual deaths, highlights the show's exploration of purpose and the human desire for meaning. Mr. Meeseeks' arc is a subtle reflection on the futility of endless striving without fulfillment, showing that even the most absurd characters carry a poignant existential undertone about the quest for significance. 187. Toxic Rick, the version of Rick that appears in the Ricklantis mix-up, represents the darker aspects of Rick's personality, specifically his detachment from the consequences of his actions. Toxic Rick's character is a reflection of Rick's tendency to avoid responsibility for the chaos he causes, often at the expense of others. His involvement in the political machinations of the Citadel of Ricks exposes the darker sides of the multiverse's power structures. Toxic Rick's existence serves as a metaphor for how unchecked power can lead to corruption and the erosion of empathy, a quiet but significant commentary on morality. Fact 88. The character of Krumbopulos, Michael, a cheerful and unassuming assassin, provides one of the show's most interesting contrasts. In his appearance in Get Swifty, Krumbopulos Michael is introduced as a character who delights in his work of killing, but his unremarkable demeanor hides a deeper, darker truth. The episode explores the idea of desensitization to violence, using Krumbopulos Michael as a quiet reminder of how society often normalizes behavior that should be morally questioned. Despite his brief presence, the character underscores the show's ongoing commentary on the absurdity and moral complexities of the world they inhabit. Fact 89. The character of Tammy, a seemingly innocent friend who later reveals herself to be a traitor, represents the theme of betrayal within the show. In The Wedding Squanchers, Tammy's true allegiance is revealed, shaking the foundations of the family's trust. Her transformation from a trusted ally to an antagonist reflects the show's exploration of hidden motives and the vulnerability of relationships. Tammy's betrayal is not just a plot twist, but a subtle exploration of trust, manipulation, and the complexity of human emotions, even within the often chaotic and comedic framework of the show. Fact 90. The character of Mr. Jellybean, though a relatively minor figure, serves as a symbol of the darker, often unexplored sides of the multiverse. In Rixie Business, Mr. Jellybean's role as a seemingly harmless yet unsettling character highlights the tension between appearance and reality. His behavior, particularly his treatment of Morty, subtly explores the theme of power imbalance and predation in a way that isn't overtly violent but still profoundly disturbing. Mr. Jellybean's presence is a quiet reminder of the dangers that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly innocuous characters. Fact 91. The concept of multiple dimensions and parallel universes is at the core of Rick and Morty, reflecting the infinite possibilities of existence. Each dimension the characters visit offers new and often bizarre experiences, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. The show subtly explores how each choice creates a new reality where lives unfold in countless directions. This theme of infinite possibilities invites viewers to reflect on their own lives, how the smallest decisions can lead to vast, unforeseen consequences, shaping who we become and how we relate to the world around us. Fact 92. The idea of the Citadel of Ricks, a central hub for all Ricks and Mortys, brings into focus the concept of a self perpetuating system, a universe where power is held by those who are most like each other. The Citadel serves as a metaphor for bureaucracy, showing how even in a multiverse of infinite dimensions, the system can become corrupt and stagnant. It reflects the notion that even in the vastness of reality, individuals can become trapped by the systems they create. This exploration of power and control is presented softly as a quiet warning about the dangers of conformity. Fact 93. The concept of the Council of Ricks in the multiverse introduces the idea of self identity within a vast, infinite reality. The Council is made up of different versions of Rick from multiple dimensions, all working together to maintain their power. Yet beneath the collective power, there lies a sense of loneliness. Each Rick is still searching for meaning despite their intelligence. This quiet contradiction is at the heart of the show's exploration of identity. It asks the question, in a multiverse of infinite versions of yourself, who are you really, and what is your place in all of it? Fact 94. Throughout the series, the concept of infinite worlds suggests both freedom and entrapment. The infinite possibilities of the multiverse allow the characters to escape their problems, but they also force them to confront the fact that they are never truly free from their circumstances. The show quietly examines how the idea of unlimited choices can lead to indecision, confusion, and the struggle to find meaning. In an infinite universe, the search for purpose becomes more difficult, as every version of yourself might lead to a different path, each fraught with its own challenges. Fact 95. The Cronenberg dimension, introduced in Rick Potion number 9, highlights the consequences of tampering with nature and the unintended chaos that can result. The dimension, where humanity has turned into grotesque, mutated creatures, serves as a dark commentary on the dangers of unchecked scientific experimentation. Despite the show's absurdity, this episode softly suggests that, in a world of infinite possibilities, every action, no matter how small, can create irreversible effects. It's a quiet reflection on the responsibility that comes with power, especially when the boundaries of nature and reality are pushed too far. Fact is 96. The concept of time travel is explored in the show, but it's never as simple as it seems. Time is fluid and often malleable, allowing characters to create endless variations of the same event. The show uses this concept not just for comedic effect, but to highlight the consequences of trying to alter the past. Each attempt to change time leads to unexpected outcomes, showing that, in the end, time remains a force beyond control. The show quietly reflects on the futility of trying to rewrite history, urging viewers to accept the present rather than dwell on the past. Fact 97. The multiverse theory in Rick and Morty suggests that every version of a person exists in some dimension, living out different lives based on different choices. This idea challenges the notion of a singular reality, inviting viewers to reflect on the infinite possibilities that could stem from a single decision. The show delicately explores how this theory can be both liberating and overwhelming, as the characters confront versions of themselves who have made different choices. It asks the viewer to consider: how much does choice shape who we are, and how much of us is determined by circumstance? Fact 98. The show often contrasts the vastness of the universe with the intimate, personal struggles of the characters. While the characters travel through infinite dimensions, they are always grounded by their own emotional turmoil and interpersonal relationships. This juxtaposition highlights the tension between the cosmic and the personal. The infinite possibilities of the multiverse suggest that nothing matters in the grand scheme of things, but the quiet emotional moments between characters remind us that our connections with others are what truly shape us. The show's exploration of the vast universe is softened by its focus on personal human experiences. Fact 99. The concept of alternate realities is explored through the lives of different versions of Rick and Morty, each facing its own challenges. These alternate realities are not just absurd, but they also serve as a way to examine different versions of self and identity. Each reality reflects the choices made by the characters, showing that even in a multiverse of infinite possibilities, their core struggles remain the same. The show gently invites viewers to reflect on their own lives, asking them to consider how their choices create the reality they live in and how different decisions might shape them. Fact 100. In the episode The Ricklantis Mix-Up, the theme of the price of power is explored as multiple versions of Rick's and Morty's navigate their lives within the Citadel. This episode showcases the contrast between the personal and the political, subtly revealing that the more powerful an individual becomes, the more disconnected they are from humanity. The multiverse of Ricks serves as a dark mirror to the real world, where those in power often become lost in their own system. The episode's quiet, reflective tone highlights the corrupting influence of power, urging viewers to think deeply about the cost of ambition. Fact 101. The creation of Rick and Morty began with a deep focus on blending the absurd with the emotional. From the earliest days, the show's creators aimed to push the boundaries of animation, using a mix of traditional and modern techniques. The show's unique blend of humor and existential drama is achieved not just through writing, but through the meticulous care given to animation, sound design, and voice acting. Behind the scenes, the team worked to ensure that every moment, no matter how absurd, still resonated emotionally, creating a world that felt both wildly imaginative and deeply human. Fact 102. A significant part of the show's appeal lies in its unique animation style. Rick and Morty was designed to look different from other animated shows, embracing a raw, often sketchy aesthetic. The animation team worked to create a style that felt more organic and less polished, giving the characters and their world a rough around the edges charm. This visual style, which often contrasts with the show's complex narrative themes, reflects the balance between chaos and emotional depth, mirroring the characters' journeys in a world that feels imperfect, unrefined, and real in its own quirky way. Fact 103. The voice acting in Rick and Morty plays a crucial role in shaping the emotional tone of the show. Justin Roiland, who voices both Rick and Morty, brought a unique blend of improvisation and precision to his roles. Roiland's ability to shift between the frantic, manic energy of Rick and the wide eyed innocence of Morty adds emotional depth to the characters. Much of the show's humor and emotional weight comes from Royland's performances, which bring the characters to life in a way that feels both spontaneous and deeply connected to their inner struggles. Fact 104. The writers of Rick and Morty have always prioritized thematic depth over slapstick humor. While the show is known for its absurd and often dark comedy, the creators have made a conscious effort to ensure that each episode has an emotional core. They view each adventure as a metaphor for the personal struggles the characters face, whether it's Rick's existential crisis, Morty's coming of age journey, or the family's complex relationships. This focus on emotional storytelling has helped Rick and Morty stand out as a show that blends humor with poignant, sometimes uncomfortable truths about life. Fact 105. Improvisation is a key element in the creation of Rick and Morty. Much of the dialogue, particularly in the early seasons, was shaped by the actors' ability to improvise and add their own unique twists to the script. This improv heavy approach allows the characters to feel spontaneous and unpredictable, which enhances the show's chaotic yet emotional nature. The improvisational style reflects the characters' inner turmoil, constantly shifting, never fully under control, and adds a layer of authenticity to the interactions between Rick, Morty, and the rest of the cast. Fact 106. One of the unique aspects of Rick and Morty is its blend of high concept science fiction and deeply grounded emotional storytelling. The show's creators took great care to develop intricate sci fi concepts like time travel, alternate realities, and the multiverse, while keeping the focus on the characters' personal struggles. This balance of the intellectual and the emotional is a defining feature of the show. Behind the scenes, the team constantly worked to ensure that even the most outlandish plot twists had emotional weight, allowing the fantastical to feel real and meaningful within the context of the characters' lives. Fact 107. The writers and animators of Rick and Morty often drew inspiration from a wide range of sources, from classic science fiction novels to philosophical treatises. The show's complex themes of free will, identity, and existentialism are explored not just through dialogue, but through subtle visual cues and references. These influences are woven into the fabric of the show, allowing it to resonate on multiple levels. Behind the scenes, the team worked diligently to blend these intellectual and artistic influences, creating a show that challenges viewers to think while also providing moments of humor and humanity. Fact 108. The decision to make Rick's character a mad scientist archetype was a deliberate one, but it quickly evolved into something more complex. Initially, the creators wanted to explore the trope of the genius, who is both deeply flawed and emotionally detached, but over time, they began to deepen Rick's backstory. His emotional distance, cynicism, and inability to connect with others became key elements of his character arc. Behind the scenes, the writers worked to make Rick a multidimensional character, someone who could be both a source of humor and a vehicle for the show's more philosophical themes. Fact 109. The show's team was committed to creating a world where the rules of reality could be bent and broken without sacrificing emotional continuity. The multiverse concept allowed the writers to explore infinite variations of the same characters, creating endless possibilities for stories and themes. This narrative flexibility became a cornerstone of the show, allowing the creators to take risks with plot lines while always returning to the emotional center of the characters. Behind the scenes, the writers worked hard to maintain a balance between wild, unpredictable stories and the core emotional truths that make the show resonate with viewers. Fact 110: the creation of Rick and Morty was a deeply collaborative process, with each episode shaped by a diverse team of writers, animators, and voice actors. The show's distinctive tone, a mix of dark humor, philosophical depth, and emotional vulnerability, was crafted through ongoing collaboration. Every team member contributed their unique perspective, whether it was through the development of new characters, visual design, or refining the show's voice. The collaborative nature of the show allowed for a richness and complexity that made Rick and Morty feel both innovative and emotionally grounded despite its outlandish premise. Fact 111: Rick and Morty has become a cultural phenomenon, known not just for its inventive storytelling, but for its deep resonance with fans across the globe. The show's unique blend of philosophical depth and dark humor has sparked widespread discussion, encouraging fans to explore themes of existentialism, free will, and the absurdity of life. The show's influence stretches beyond television, inspiring memes, fan art, and even philosophical debates. Its ability to mix high concept ideas with humor has made it a favorite for those seeking both intellectual stimulation and escapism, reflecting how pop culture can shape deeper conversations. Fact 12: the rise of Rick and Morty in meme culture highlights the show's ability to tap into the collective consciousness. Memes like Wubba Lubba Dub Dub and Pickle Rick have become iconic, often serving as shorthand for the show's absurd humor and existential undercurrents. These catchphrases, while initially comedic, have taken on a deeper significance over time, reflecting the show's exploration of self awareness, identity, and the absurdity of existence. Behind the memes lies a larger cultural impact: how humor can spark reflection and resonate with people on a more personal, introspective level. Fact 113: the show's influence on internet culture is undeniable. Beyond memes, Rick and Morty has inspired countless YouTube videos, podcasts, and think pieces. Fans analyze the show's deeper themes, from its exploration of nihilism to its deconstruction of traditional sci fi tropes. This intellectual engagement with the show highlights its dual nature. On the surface, it's absurd and chaotic, but beneath that, it's rich with meaning. The widespread discussions surrounding the show reflect its ability to inspire both intellectual and emotional responses, making it a centerpiece of modern cultural conversations, especially in online communities. Fact 114: the character of Rick Sanchez has become a symbol for rebellion against authority and societal norms. His intelligence, arrogance, and disregard for traditional rules resonate with viewers who feel disillusioned with conventional systems. However, as the show progresses, it becomes clear that Rick's detachment and self destructive tendencies are also critiques of this same rebellion. Rick's character arc invites viewers to reflect on the consequences of unchecked autonomy. His popularity as a cultural figure underscores the tension between the desire for freedom and the emotional consequences of detachment, resonating with those seeking both answers and escape. Fact 115: Rick and Morty has also sparked discussions about the representation of mental health in animated series. Rick's struggles with depression, substance abuse, and emotional detachment are explored with nuance, showing how even brilliant minds are not immune to internal battles. While the show uses humor to address these heavy topics, it also provides a platform for viewers to reflect on their own mental health. Through Rick's journey, the series softens the conversation around mental health, subtly urging viewers to consider the impact of emotional struggles on their own lives, even in a world full of chaos. Fact 116: the show's global impact is seen in its widespread international fan base. Rick and Morty transcends cultural boundaries, with fans around the world embracing its unique humor and philosophical themes. The show's ability to address universal themes of identity, purpose, and the absurdity of life allows it to resonate across different cultures. Fans from various countries have created localized versions of the show's most memorable quotes and moments, adapting them to their own languages and contexts, further cementing its place as a global phenomenon that speaks to both universal and individual experiences. Fact 117: the show's exploration of science fiction tropes has had a lasting impact on the genre, influencing other shows and media. While Rick and Morty is often comedic, it also deeply critiques and plays with traditional sci fi conventions. By deconstructing the multiverse, time travel, and alien species, the show introduces a fresh perspective on these often worn themes. This mix of satire and genuine exploration has inspired other creators to take risks with the genre, blending humor with complex philosophical inquiries. Rick and Morty redefines what sci fi can be in the modern cultural landscape, inviting viewers to think beyond the ordinary. Fact 118: the show's influence on the world of animation is significant, as Rick and Morty push the boundaries of what animated series could tackle in terms of both content and narrative complexity. While many animated shows focus primarily on humor, Rick and Morty is unafraid to dive into deep, often uncomfortable themes. It has helped pave the way for other animated shows that balance the absurd with the profound. The show's unique approach to animation, where the bizarre and the heartfelt coexist, has inspired a new generation of animated content that challenges traditional boundaries in storytelling and animation style. Fact 119: one of the reasons Rick and Morty has resonated so deeply with its fans is its ability to tap into the existential questions that many young adults face today. The show's exploration of nihilism, the search for meaning, and the rejection of traditional societal values mirrors the struggles of a generation questioning the status quo. Rick and Morty becomes a mirror for viewers, reflecting the confusion and uncertainty they feel in a world that often seems chaotic and indifferent. In this way, the show acts as both a source of comfort and a reflection of the anxieties of modern life. Fact 120: the way Rick and Morty balances its absurd humor with serious philosophical questions has made it a unique cultural artifact. The show's ability to ask profound questions about life, the universe, and human existence while still maintaining its comedic edge is a testament to its depth and originality. It has become a conversation starter, inspiring viewers to engage in thoughtful discussions about its themes long after the credits roll. The show's unique blend of lightheartedness and gravitas has made it a cultural touchstone reflecting the complexities of contemporary life with humor, honesty, and a touch of cosmic absurdity. Fact 121: the music in Rick and Morty plays a vital role in establishing the tone of the show. The soundtrack, composed by Ryan Elder, blends genres and styles to match the ever changing emotional landscape of the series. From soaring orchestral themes that echo the grandeur of space to quirky electronic beats that reflect the chaos of the multiverse, the music shifts seamlessly with each scene. The show uses music not only as a backdrop, but as a tool for emotional resonance, amplifying moments of sadness, triumph, and absurdity, further deepening the connection between the viewer and the characters. Fact 122. In addition to the main soundtrack, the show uses a variety of songs and sound effects to highlight key emotional moments. Tracks like Get Swifty and Rick's theme have become fan favorites, encapsulating the tone and essence of the series. These musical choices, often unexpected or unconventional, are designed to both surprise and evoke emotion. The juxtaposition of humor with emotional weight is accentuated through the use of music, reinforcing the show's unique ability to balance lighthearted moments with profound reflections on life, existence, and the universe's inherent absurdity. Fact 123. The sound design of Rick and Morty is a key element in creating the show's distinctive atmosphere. Every world the characters visit has its own unique soundscape, from the hum of interdimensional travel to the eerie quiet of desolate planets. Sound effects are carefully crafted to bring each environment to life, enhancing the feeling of being transported to another world. The subtle use of ambient sounds in quieter moments allows the audience to feel immersed in the universe, adding depth to the show's setting while maintaining a sense of grounded reality amidst the wild, fantastical adventures. Fact 124. The emotional moments in Rick and Morty are often framed by the contrast between absurdity and poignancy. Episodes like The Ricklantis Mix Up explore deeply emotional themes like isolation, identity, and the consequences of unchecked power, all while maintaining the show's signature surreal humor. These moments allow for a slow exploration of the characters' internal worlds, letting their vulnerabilities shine through the chaos. Whether it's Rick's rare moments of tenderness or Morty's emotional growth, these subtle emotional arcs make the show more than just a comedy, inviting the audience to reflect on the characters' struggles and growth. Fact 125. One of the recurring emotional beats in the series is Rick's relationship with Morty. While Rick's behavior often appears detached or cruel, his underlying affection for Morty is evident in quiet moments. These moments, whether it's Rick protecting Morty or Morty challenging Rick's actions, are often the heart of the show. The emotional depth of their relationship adds layers to Rick's character, showing that, despite his nihilistic views, he is capable of love and vulnerability. These moments remind the viewer that beneath the humor and absurdity, the show explores the complexities of family, care, and personal growth. Fact 126. The show's ability to blend humor with existential questions is exemplified in its emotional moments, which often leave viewers reflecting on the deeper meaning behind the chaos. In episodes like A Wrinkle in Time, where time and reality begin to fracture, the emotional turmoil felt by the characters mirrors the absurdity of the situation. These quiet emotional moments, where the characters face their fears or regrets, are crucial to the show's impact. They provide a subtle grounding amidst the wild science fiction elements, making the show's more absurd moments feel emotionally authentic and relatable. Fact 127. The theme of existential dread is explored deeply in the series, often through Rick's character. His cynicism and detachment are a reflection of his fear of meaninglessness. Episodes like The Ricks Must Be Crazy explore the illusion of control, with Rick attempting to manipulate the universe within his car battery. However, as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that no matter how much Rick tries to control reality, he is always faced with the inherent chaos of existence. These subtle philosophical musings on existence and meaning are paired with humor, creating a show that challenges both intellectually and emotionally. Fact 128: the emotional complexity of the show is often heightened by the way it uses family dynamics to drive character growth. In episodes like Close Rick Counters of the Rick Kind, we see how deeply Rick's relationships with his family affect him, even though he tries to distance himself emotionally. This quiet emotional undercurrent, Rick's fear of attachment, and the vulnerability he hides beneath his bravado, is often revealed in soft moments where the show gently explores his internal conflict. These moments of emotional vulnerability provide a deeper, more relatable layer to Rick's character, grounding the fantastical elements of the show. Fact 129: Rick and Morty often uses visual storytelling to complement its emotional beats. The animators use color, lighting, and framing to reflect the characters' emotional states. For instance, in darker or more introspective moments, the use of muted tones and shadow highlights the character's feelings of isolation or despair. Conversely, bright, vibrant colors are used during moments of triumph or humor. This attention to visual detail enhances the emotional depth of the series, allowing the audience to connect with the characters' experiences on a sensory level, further immersing them in the show's world. Fact 130: the show's ability to seamlessly transition between the absurd and the heartfelt is a hallmark of its emotional storytelling. Episodes like the Vat of Acid episode play with absurd, high concept sci fi ideas while using these wild scenarios to delve into Rick's emotional struggles. In the case of this episode, Rick's use of a fake death scenario to avoid confronting his fears is both a comedic setup and a moment of emotional revelation. This blend of humor with emotional complexity allows the show to maintain its signature tone while still offering moments of genuine emotional resonance for its audience. Fact 131: the animation style of Rick and Morty is intentionally raw and sketchy, evoking a sense of improvisation that mirrors the show's storytelling approach. This visual aesthetic allows the show to feel both energetic and spontaneous, while also providing space for emotional depth. The slightly rough edges of the characters and environments reflect the imperfections within the characters themselves, particularly Rick, whose emotional turmoil is mirrored in the animation. This unique style has become synonymous with the show's tone, highlighting the contrast between the chaos of the multiverse and the quiet, personal struggles of the characters. Fact 132: as the series has evolved, the animation has grown more refined, but the core aesthetic has remained consistent. The decision to keep the animation style grounded in simplicity allows the show to remain visually accessible while still incorporating more complex scenes. In later seasons, the backgrounds and special effects have become more detailed, reflecting the increasingly intricate worlds the characters explore. These visual improvements enhance the narrative's emotional depth, using color, light, and movement to reflect the internal worlds of the characters, particularly Rick's emotional complexity and the sense of alienation he often feels. Fact 133: The show often uses visual motifs to reflect the emotional and psychological states of its characters. For example, Rick's wild, unkempt appearance is a visual representation of his chaotic mind, while Morty's more reserved, structured design symbolizes his internal conflict. As the series progresses, the animation style subtly shifts to mirror their emotional growth. Rick's frantic movements often calm as he becomes more introspective, while Morty's gestures grow more assertive as he takes on greater responsibility. This use of animation to reflect character development enhances the show's emotional impact, creating a seamless connection between story and visuals. Fact 134. The show's distinctive color palette plays a key role in setting the tone of each scene. Bright neon colors are often used during scenes of chaotic adventure, reflecting the wild, unpredictable nature of the multiverse. In contrast, muted tones are used during moments of introspection or emotional depth, underscoring the more serious themes explored in those scenes. This visual strategy creates a balance between humor and gravity, allowing the audience to intuitively sense when the story is shifting from absurdity to something more heartfelt, reinforcing the show's ability to blend the comedic with the profound. Fact 135. One of the show's signature animation techniques is its use of surreal, distorted visuals during high stakes or emotionally intense moments. These sequences often feature warped perspectives, exaggerated proportions, and rapid movement, creating a visual sense of disorientation. This technique mirrors the character's mental and emotional states, particularly Rick's fractured psyche and Morty's confusion. By distorting reality visually, the show deepens the viewer's connection to the character's experiences, making their emotional turmoil feel more immediate and real. These visual distortions serve as both a narrative tool and a reflection of the character's psychological struggles. Step Fact 136. The animation of Rick and Morty evolves not just in terms of visual quality, but also in the complexity of action sequences. Early in the series, the action scenes were often brief, serving as comedic setups. However, as the show progressed, the animators began creating more dynamic and intense sequences, incorporating elaborate fight scenes, chase sequences, and larger than life interdimensional landscapes. These evolving action scenes allow the show to balance its humor with high energy moments that still carry emotional weight. The animation's fluidity and creativity reflect the show's growth, expanding from simple antics to full fledged emotionally charged adventures. Fact 137. The use of visual exaggeration is central to the comedic tone of Rick and Morty. Characters often display extreme facial expressions, dramatic reactions, and over the top physical movements, which add to the absurdity of the scenarios they find themselves in. This technique not only heightens the humor, but also serves to emphasize the emotional stakes of the characters' experiences. By exaggerating their reactions, the animation brings out the underlying emotional truth of the scene, whether it's Rick's frustration or Morty's anxiety. These exaggerated visuals allow the show to maintain its comedic edge while exploring deeper emotional and philosophical themes. Fact 138. The fluidity of animation in Rick and Morty allows the show to explore a vast range of worlds and dimensions without being confined to a single visual style. Whether it's a high tech, dystopian future or a vibrant alien planet, the animation adapts to each setting, bringing new worlds to life with unique textures, colors, and perspectives. This visual versatility mirrors the show's exploration of infinite realities, emphasizing the idea that no two dimensions are the same. By constantly shifting its visual style to match the worlds the characters explore, the animation reinforces the show's theme of boundless possibility. Fact 139. One of the key animation techniques in Rick and Morty is the use of visual callbacks to previous episodes, tying the show's expansive universe together. These callbacks are often subtle, such as recurring symbols, familiar character expressions, or visual gags that reference earlier moments in the series. These visual connections create a sense of continuity, grounding the viewer in the show's universe, while also rewarding longtime fans with hidden details. The animation subtly reinforces the idea that the multiverse is interconnected, and every action, no matter how small, has lasting effects across dimensions and timelines. Fact 140. The visual evolution of Rick and Morty mirrors the character's own development, particularly Rick's gradual acknowledgement of his emotional vulnerability. Early in the series, Rick is drawn with sharp, exaggerated features that emphasize his manic, detached personality. As the series progresses and Rick's character softens, albeit slowly, the animation reflects this change. His movements become less erratic, and his expressions grow more nuanced. This visual shift subtly mirrors Rick's inner turmoil and the ongoing tension between his brilliance and his emotional fragility. The show's animation, in this way, serves as a visual metaphor for character growth. Fact 141. The process of creating Rick and Morty is deeply collaborative, with a unique blend of writers, animators, and voice actors working together to bring the show to life. While the show's content may seem spontaneous and chaotic, much of its depth comes from hours of careful planning, discussion, and refinement. The writers work closely with animators to ensure that every scene not only moves the plot forward, but also reflects the emotional and philosophical undertones of the episode. This collaborative approach allows the show to feel both effortless and meaningful, giving it the freedom to explore complex themes with humor. Fact 142. A fun piece of trivia is that Rick and Morty has made numerous subtle references to classic science fiction works. From The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to Doctor Who, the series draws on elements from iconic sci-fi literature and film. These references, often hidden in the background or woven into the plot, provide fans with a deeper connection to the genre. The show's creators have openly acknowledged their love for science fiction, and these nods create a layer of intertextuality, inviting viewers to explore the broader sci-fi world while still enjoying the unique narrative of Rick and Morty. Fact 143. Rick and Morty has also made a notable impact on the video game world. The show's creative team has collaborated with game developers to create video games that capture the essence of the show's humor and multiverse chaos. The video games often feature the same absurd humor, complex worlds, and quirky characters that fans love from the show. These games allow players to immerse themselves in the Rick and Morty universe, bringing the animated world to life in an interactive format. The games highlight the show's cultural reach, extending its influence beyond television into the world of gaming. Fact 144. One of the show's most fascinating aspects is its ability to blend complex, high-concept ideas with emotional storytelling. While the show explores themes of free will, the nature of existence, and the multiverse, it also takes the time to explore the emotional lives of its characters. This balance between intellectual inquiry and emotional depth is rare in television, especially in animated series. Rick and Morty is able to hold philosophical conversations and deep emotional arcs side by side, creating a show that both challenges and resonates with its viewers, leaving a lasting impact on their hearts and minds. Fact 145. Behind every outrageous plot twist and sci fi adventure, Rick and Morty consistently returns to the theme of family. Despite the chaos of their interdimensional travels, the Smith family remains the emotional anchor of the show. Episodes like The Ricklantis Mix Up and The Wedding Squanchers showcase the intricate and often tumultuous relationships between Rick, Morty, Beth, Jerry, and Summer. The family dynamic provides a source of grounding amid the absurdity, and the show reminds viewers that no matter how vast or bizarre the universe becomes, love and connection within the family are at the heart of it all. Fact 146. The show's impact extends beyond the screen, influencing not just entertainment, but fashion and merchandise as well. Rick and Morty has inspired a range of clothing, accessories, and collectibles that allow fans to express their connection to the series. These items, from t shirts with iconic catchphrases to action figures of beloved characters, serve as a way for fans to carry a piece of the multiverse with them. The merchandise, often designed with humor and nostalgia in mind, strengthens the community around the show, creating a shared experience among viewers who wear and use these pieces in their everyday lives. Fact 147. One of the most interesting aspects of Rick and Morty is its ability to remain fresh, even after multiple seasons. The show's creators have a unique approach to writing and storytelling that allows for constant reinvention while still maintaining a core sense of continuity. This ensures that each episode feels distinct, even though the characters' journeys are ongoing. Whether it's exploring new dimensions or delving deeper into character arcs, Rick and Morty continually evolves, refusing to fall into a repetitive formula. This constant innovation keeps the show engaging and ensures that each episode offers something new for fans to enjoy. Fact 148. While Rick and Morty is often known for its dark humor and existential themes, it's also a show that holds moments of surprising tenderness. Whether it's a quiet moment of understanding between Rick and Morty or an unexpected gesture of care from the rest of the Smith family, these moments add depth to the characters. They remind viewers that even in a world of infinite dimensions, the bonds between people are what truly matter. These quiet, emotional moments offer a counterbalance to the chaos, giving the show an emotional range that resonates with viewers long after the episode ends. Fact 149. The show's visual evolution is another testament to its ongoing creativity. From its early days of rough animation to the more polished designs seen in later seasons, Rick and Morty has continuously improved its visual storytelling. However, it maintains its unique aesthetic, characterized by exaggerated features, vibrant colors, and surreal landscapes. The visual evolution reflects the show's growth as it explores more complex themes and emotional layers. As the animation becomes more detailed, it mirrors the increasing depth of the characters, enhancing the emotional and narrative impact of each scene, without losing the quirky charm that defines the show. Fact 150. As the series progresses, Rick and Morty continues to challenge its audience with questions about identity, purpose, and existence. The show's willingness to explore dark, difficult themes while still maintaining a sense of humor and absurdity is one of the reasons it has resonated so deeply with fans. By blending existential reflection with outlandish humor, Rick and Morty offers a unique viewing experience that invites introspection while still providing entertainment. The series leaves viewers with the quiet reminder that while life may be chaotic and unpredictable, the search for meaning and connection is always worth pursuing. Thank you for drifting through this journey of Rick and Morty tonight. From the whimsical to the profound, we've explored the wild multiverse, touched on the deep emotions that lie beneath the absurdity, and reflected on the impact this series has had on both our hearts and minds. May these moments of laughter, exploration, and quiet introspection linger with you as you gently ease into your own universe of dreams. Remember, like Rick and Morty, we are all navigating through the infinite possibilities of our lives, often unsure of where each decision will lead. Yet it's these small, meaningful moments, the ones that are grounded in love, connection, and self discovery, that truly define us. As the night wraps its quiet embrace around you, let the stillness settle deep. May your thoughts drift like the characters we've come to know so well, finding peace in the knowledge that you are part of this ever expanding cosmos, and that no matter how vast the universe may seem, you always have a place within it. Good night, dear friend.